In the dark, endless void of space, a small alien spaceship named Zorath floated silently. It was a sleek ship, built for speed and exploration, with bright blue lights blinking along its edges. The crew aboard Zorath was made up of various aliens from the planet Krelon, known for their intelligence and curiosity. They were on a mission to explore the nearby star systems and discover new worlds. Captain Threk, a tall alien with green skin and large, expressive eyes, stood at the helm of the ship. He was known for his bravery and keen sense of adventure. Today he felt a mix of excitement and unease. The vastness of space always stirred something deep within him. But something unusual was about to happen. "Captain," called out Sella, the ship's chief engineer, who was busy at her control panel. She was a small, blue-skinned alien with delicate features and bright pink hair. "I'm picking up a strange signal on our scanners. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." Threk turned towards her, his interest piqued. "What do you mean, Sella? Is it a distress signal or something more?" "I can't tell yet," Sella replied, her fingers dancing over the controls. "But it's strong and seems to be coming from the direction of the third planet in the Delta system." Threk's heart raced. The Delta system was known for its lush, vibrant planets. He had always dreamed of exploring it. "Plot a course, Sella. Let's see what this signal is all about," he ordered, feeling a surge of excitement. As the ship changed direction, Sella continued to monitor the signal. "It's growing stronger, Captain. I think we're getting closer." The crew gathered around, their eyes wide with anticipation. They had heard stories about strange beings that lived on other planets, but they had never encountered them. Threk felt a mix of fear and thrill as they approached the source of the signal. After a short while, the ship emerged from the darkness and into the light of the Delta system. The view was breathtaking. Two bright suns hung in the sky, illuminating a planet below that was mostly blue and green. "This must be the third planet," Threk said, gazing down at the beautiful world. Sella adjusted the ship's sensors. "The signal is definitely coming from down there, Captain, but it's not a natural signal." "It's artificial." Threk's curiosity deepened. "Prepare for landing. We need to investigate the signal up close." The crew buzzed with excitement as Zorath descended toward the planet. They landed in a clearing surrounded by tall, vibrant trees that seemed to touch the sky. The air was fresh and filled with strange, sweet smells. Threk stepped out of the ship, his heart pounding. As the crew spread out to explore, they noticed strange structures rising in the distance. "What are those?" one crew member asked, pointing. "I'm not sure," Threk replied, frowning. "But we need to check them out. This could be a great discovery for Krelon." As they approached the structures, they heard the signal more clearly. It was a series of beeps and hums like a machine talking. Threk's mind raced. What kind of civilization made this sound? Could they be friendly or hostile? Suddenly, Sella's eyes widened. "Captain, look!" She pointed towards the horizon where a massive object emerged from behind a hill. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a gigantic metal vessel shining under the twin suns. Threk's mouth fell open. "Is that a ship?" The crew stared in awe. It was a battleship, with sharp angles and powerful engines. They had only read about such ships in ancient Krelonian texts. "This is incredible!" Threk exclaimed. "We've found a human battleship!" As they stood frozen in place, a deep rumble echoed from the battleship, sending shivers down their spines. It was clear that the humans were powerful, and this was just the beginning of their encounter. Little did Threk and his crew know their lives were about to change forever as they prepared to make contact with the mysterious beings from this strange planet. The adventures that lay ahead would test their courage and challenge everything they thought they knew about life beyond their own world. On the human battleship USS Valor, life was bustling with energy. The crew moved quickly, their faces set with determination. They had received strange readings from a distant part of space, and Captain Jane was determined to find out what was happening. The USS Valor was one of the most advanced ships in the human fleet, built for speed and combat. Its dark hull gleamed under the bright lights of the command center. Captain Jane, a strong and confident woman with short brown hair and sharp blue eyes, stood at the center of the command room. She glanced at her crew, who were busy at their stations, monitoring screens filled with data. "What do we know about that signal?" she asked, her voice steady and clear. Lieutenant Harris, a young officer with a passion for exploration, looked up from his console. The signal is coming from the planet in the Delta system, Captain. It appears to be artificial, and it's growing stronger by the minute. We might not be alone out there. Jane nodded, her instincts telling her that this could be a serious situation. Prepare the ship for battle. We need to be ready for anything, she ordered. Her crew sprang into action, each person understanding their role in the upcoming mission. As the crew moved efficiently, Captain Jane reviewed the data on her screen. The readings showed a large alien ship in the area, Zorath, the alien vessel they had encountered before. She had heard stories about the Krylonians, known for their intelligence and advanced technology. But humans had faced many alien species before, and they were always ready to defend their home. "Captain, we have visual on the alien ship," Lieutenant Harris shouted. The main screen lit up with the image of Zorath. Its sleek design and bright blue lights made it look graceful, but Jane knew that appearances could be deceiving. "Maintain a safe distance. I want to know what they are up to," Jane commanded. She felt a mixture of curiosity and caution. This was a chance to learn about the Krylonians, but she also had to protect her crew. As the crew prepared the ship for possible combat, Jane went over the battle strategy in her mind. They had advanced weapons and shields, but she had learned that communication could often solve conflicts before they escalated. If we can communicate with them, we might avoid a fight, she thought. Just then, the ship's communication officer, Ensign Park, looked up with urgency. "Captain, the alien ship is moving towards us. They're not backing down." Jane's heart raced. "Raise shields and prepare weapons. If they come at us, we will defend ourselves," she replied, her voice firm. The tension in the command room grew as crew members exchanged glances. They had trained for scenarios like this, but facing an alien ship was different. Jane took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. She turned to her crew and said, "We are the best of the best. We can handle this together. Trust in your training." As they readied the ship, Jane noticed the alien vessel's movements on the screen. It was elegant, darting through space with grace. What are they planning? She wondered. The Zorath seemed to hesitate, as if it was weighing its options. "Captain," Harris said, "I think they're trying to communicate. Their ship is sending out a series of signals. It looks like they are trying to establish contact." Jane frowned, her mind racing. "Can we decode it?" "I'll try," Harris replied, typing rapidly at his console. The crew fell silent, waiting for his report. After a tense moment, he looked up. "I think I've got it. They're asking us to hold our fire and are requesting a meeting." Jane considered the message. Could this be a trick? Or were the Krylonians genuinely looking for peace? She had seen too many battles start over misunderstandings. "Open a channel," she ordered. With a flick of a switch, the communication system buzzed to life. "This is Captain Jane of the USS Valor. We are prepared to defend ourselves, but we are willing to talk. What do you want?" The screen flickered, and the image of Captain Threck appeared. He looked serious, but Jane could see a hint of curiosity in his eyes. "We come in peace. We wish to understand your kind. Please do not fire upon us," he replied, his voice steady. Jane felt a sense of relief wash over her. "Very well, Captain Threck. We can talk, but know that we will not hesitate to defend ourselves if necessary." As the two captains prepared to negotiate, both ships hovered in the vastness of space, uncertain of what would happen next. The fate of their encounter hung in the balance, and the decisions made in the moments to come would determine whether they would find a way to coexist or plunge into chaos. The tension hung in the air as Captain Jane and Captain Threck prepared for their first meeting. Both were aware that this moment could change everything. In the vastness of space, their ships floated silently, surrounded by stars that had witnessed countless encounters. Captain Jane took a deep breath, her heart racing. She had spent years training for situations like this, but meeting an alien captain was something entirely new. "Let's keep it professional," she reminded herself. She adjusted her uniform, ensuring it was neat and presentable. "Captain, we're ready to send a shuttle," Lieutenant Harris said, breaking the silence. "The crew is prepared to assist with the meeting." "Good," Jane replied. "We need to show them we mean no harm." She turned to her crew, who looked back with a mix of excitement and anxiety. "Remember, we're here to communicate, not to fight. Trust your instincts." In a few moments, the shuttle was launched from the USS Valor. It glided through space towards Zorath, the alien ship that was now their neighbor. Inside the shuttle, Captain Jane sat beside her trusted crew members, Lieutenant Harris and Ensign Park. They were equipped with communication devices and small weapons, just in case things took a wrong turn. As they approached Zorath, Jane could see its graceful form up close. The ship shimmered under the starlight, and she noticed the Krylonian crew peeking out of the windows, their eyes wide with curiosity. She felt a wave of excitement. This was history in the making. The shuttle docked with Zorath, and Jane took a moment to steady herself. "This is it," she said, glancing at her crew. "Stay alert, but let's keep the mood friendly." When the airlock opened, Captain Threk stood on the other side, flanked by several Krylonian crew members. They looked strange yet fascinating, with their green skin and large eyes that seemed to absorb every detail. Threk stepped forward, his expression serious but open. "Welcome, humans," he said, his voice deep and calm. "I am Captain Threk of the Zorath. It is an honor to meet you." Jane nodded, offering a smile. "Thank you, Captain Threk. I'm Captain Jane of the USS Valor. I'm glad we could meet in peace." They exchanged pleasantries, shaking hands in a traditional gesture of goodwill. The Krylonian's grip was firm yet gentle, a clear sign of respect. Jane could sense the tension slowly easing, and she felt a spark of hope. "Your ship is impressive," Threk said, glancing around the shuttle. "It is unlike anything we have seen before." "Thank you," Jane replied. "We've worked hard to make it capable. But I am equally impressed by your ship. It has an elegance to it." As they spoke, the crew members began to relax, exchanging curious glances and friendly smiles. However, Jane could see the caution in Threk's eyes. "Tell me, what is your purpose here in this part of the galaxy?" he asked, his tone serious. Jane took a deep breath, knowing this was an important moment. "We came across a mysterious signal from your planet and wanted to investigate. We had no idea we would find another civilization." She paused, gauging Threk's reaction. "We seek knowledge and understanding. We hope to learn from each other." Threk nodded thoughtfully. "We also wish to understand you, Captain Jane. There are many myths about humans. Some say you are warlike and dangerous. Others say you are brave explorers. Which is true?" Jane met his gaze, her heart racing. "We have the capacity for both. Humans have a long history of fighting, but we also seek peace. We want to explore and learn. We're hoping to find allies, not enemies." The room fell silent as Threk absorbed her words. Finally, he spoke. "Then let us begin our alliance with honesty. There is much we can learn from each other, but we must also prepare for the unexpected. There are dangers in this universe." Jane nodded, feeling a sense of agreement. "We're ready to face those dangers together. We can share our knowledge and technology. We can be allies." As their meeting continued, ideas flowed between them. They discussed technology, cultures, and their hopes for the future. Both captains realized that despite their differences, they shared a common goal: to explore the stars and protect their people. By the end of their first contact, Jane felt a sense of accomplishment. They had taken the first step towards a new partnership. As she and Threk exchanged contact information, they both knew this was just the beginning. The universe was vast, and together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The peaceful atmosphere from their first contact quickly shifted as alarms blared throughout the USS Valor. Captain Jane was in her ready room, reviewing the data from her meeting with Captain Threk, when the sudden sound of sirens jolted her back to reality. "Captain, we have a serious situation." Lieutenant Harris burst into the room, his face pale. "An unknown ship has entered the Delta system, and it's heading straight for us." Jane's heart raced as she hurried to the command center. The crew was already working frantically, eyes glued to their screens. The image of a large, menacing ship filled the main display. Its dark hull and sharp edges made it look like a predator ready to strike. "Identify the ship," Jane ordered, trying to keep her voice steady. Ensign Park, the communication officer, tapped furiously on her console. "It appears to be a Krylonian warship, Captain." "They are broadcasting a message." "Put it on screen," Jane commanded, crossing her fingers. She hoped it wasn't a hostile declaration. The image shifted, revealing a stern Krylonian commander. "Humans, you have trespassed in our territory. Prepare to be destroyed." Jane's heart sank. This was not the welcome she had hoped for. "What is going on?" she asked herself. "I thought we could avoid conflict." "Captain," Harris said urgently, "we need to defend ourselves. They are charging weapons." Jane nodded, feeling a surge of determination. "Raise shields and prepare weapons. We need to show them we won't back down." As the crew worked to ready the ship for battle, Jane glanced at the screen showing Captain Threk's ship. "Open a channel to Zorath." We need their help! Moments later, the screen displayed Captain Threk, looking alarmed. Captain Jane, we are under attack. I see the warship approaching. We must fight back! Yes, we can't let them destroy us. Let's work together, Jane replied, feeling a rush of confidence. With shields raised and weapons ready, the USS Valor and Zorath formed a united front against the hostile Krylonian warship. The tension in the command room was palpable as Jane watched the enemy ship prepare to fire. Enemy ship firing! Harris shouted as red lights flashed and the alarms rang louder. Jane felt the ship shudder as the enemy's shots struck their shields. They're strong! We need to hit back! Return fire! Jane ordered, gripping the console tightly. The USS Valor fired its lasers, striking the enemy ship. A huge explosion lit up the dark space, and Jane felt a surge of hope. Direct hit! Lieutenant Harris cheered, but the victory was short-lived. The Krylonian warship returned fire, and their lasers hit the Zorath, causing it to shake violently. Captain Threk, status report? Jane shouted over the chaos. We've sustained damage, but we're still operational, Threk replied, determination in his eyes. We will fight with you. Jane took a deep breath, knowing that every decision counted. Harris, divert power to the front shields. We need to hold strong! The battle raged on as both ships exchanged fire with the enemy. The crew worked tirelessly, pushing buttons and shouting orders. Jane felt the weight of leadership on her shoulders, but she knew they had to stay focused. Captain, they're flanking us! Ensign Park yelled, pointing to the screen. The enemy ship was moving quickly, trying to get around them. Form a defensive position! We can't let them get behind us, Jane commanded. Threk, keep your ship close. The two human and Krylonian ships moved in sync, their weapons lighting up the darkness as they fought together. With every blast, they grew more confident, their teamwork becoming a powerful force against the enemy. Captain, the enemy ship is losing power, Harris shouted, excitement bubbling in his voice. Keep the pressure on! Don't let them regroup, Jane shouted. She could feel the tide of battle shifting in their favor. As the battle continued, Jane noticed something strange. The Krylonian warship had paused its attack. What's happening? She wondered aloud. Are they retreating? Before she could react, the Krylonian commander's voice came over the comms. This is a mistake! We did not intend to harm you. We were testing your strength. Jane frowned, feeling a mix of anger and disbelief. Testing our strength? You attacked us! We had no choice but to fight back. Suddenly, the enemy ship powered down its weapons, raising a white flag of truce. Jane and her crew exchanged bewildered looks, unsure of what to do next. Captain Threk, what should we do? Jane asked, seeking guidance. Threk's expression was serious. Let's give them a chance to explain. We must not repeat history's mistakes. Perhaps they can learn from this. With a hesitant nod, Jane ordered her crew to stand down. We will listen, she said firmly. But know this, if you intend to attack again, we will not hesitate to defend ourselves. The Krylonian commander appeared relieved. Thank you, Captain. Let us discuss a better way forward. Together, we can create peace rather than war. As Jane took a deep breath, she knew they had taken a step toward understanding. The battle may have been fierce, but it also opened a door to a new possibility. In the vastness of space, alliances could be forged, and they had a chance to shape the future together. In the aftermath of the fierce battle, Captain Jane stood on the bridge of the USS Valor, her heart still racing from the adrenaline. The Krylonian warship had lowered its weapons, and the atmosphere had shifted from one of tension to cautious hope. As she gazed out at the stars, she felt a mixture of relief and uncertainty. Captain, the Krylonian ship is requesting to dock for a meeting, Lieutenant Harris announced, breaking the silence. They want to discuss the future. Jane nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. Let them in. We need to find a way to move forward together. A few minutes later, the Krylonian ship Zorath docked alongside the USS Valor. The airlock hissed open and Captain Threk stepped inside, flanked by his crew. He looked serious, but there was a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Captain Jane, Threk began, his deep voice steady. Thank you for allowing us to speak after our confrontation. We acted rashly, driven by fear and misunderstanding. We did not intend to start a war. Jane studied him, knowing how fragile this moment was. I appreciate your honesty, Captain Threk. We were prepared to defend ourselves, but we're glad we didn't have to fight. What do you propose? Threk stepped forward, his posture firm yet respectful. We must learn from each other. We are both explorers at heart. We share the same curiosity about the universe. Instead of fighting, let's unite our strengths. Jane felt a wave of relief. Agreed. We can combine our technologies and share our knowledge. Together, we can explore and discover new worlds. A smile spread across Threk's face, and the tension that had lingered for so long began to fade. Yes! We can establish a coalition between humans and Krylonians. Together, we will be stronger. As they discussed the details, ideas flowed freely between them. They spoke of joint missions, sharing information about their respective technologies and even cultural exchanges. Both crews were excited at the prospect of working together, realizing that they could achieve so much more as allies. We should set a course for your home planet, Jane suggested. It will give us a chance to learn more about each other's cultures. I believe understanding our histories will help prevent future conflicts. Threk nodded in agreement. That is an excellent idea, Captain. I will gather my crew to prepare for the journey. It is time for us to explore the universe together. The next few days were filled with preparation and excitement. Both crews worked side by side, sharing knowledge and tools. The Krylonians marveled at the technology of the USS Valor, while Jane's crew was fascinated by the Krylonian navigation systems. They exchanged stories about their home worlds, laughing and learning together. On the day of their departure, Jane stood on the bridge, her heart full of anticipation. She watched as the stars twinkled outside the viewport. Threk entered the room, and they exchanged determined looks. "Are you ready?" Threk asked, his eyes shining with excitement. "More than ever," Jane replied, feeling a sense of unity. "Let's make history together." With a firm nod, Threk ordered his crew to set their ship on course. The Zorath and USS Valor flew side by side, their powerful engines igniting the darkness of space. As they traveled, Jane felt a strong bond growing between the two crews. Days passed, and the journey brought them closer. The crews shared meals, stories, and laughter, forging friendships that transcended their differences. Captain Jane and Captain Threk worked closely, planning future missions and discussing how to ensure peace in their new alliance. One evening, while the stars glittered outside the ship, Jane and Threk sat together in the lounge, reflecting on their journey so far. "Who would have thought our first meeting would lead to this?" Jane mused. Threk chuckled. "If only we had known sooner, we could have avoided the battle. But perhaps it was necessary. It opened our eyes to the potential we hold together." Jane nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude. "We've created a new path for our people, one built on trust and understanding. Together we can explore the unknown and protect our worlds." As they continued their journey, Jane felt a sense of hope for the future. They were no longer two separate species, but partners united against the challenges of the universe. In that moment, she realized that sometimes conflict could lead to unexpected beginnings. The stars seemed to shine brighter, guiding them toward a shared destiny. Captain Jane and Captain Threk knew that this was just the start of their adventure, one filled with promise, discovery, and a new beginning for both humans and Krylonians. Together, they would navigate the vastness of space, hand in hand, ready to face whatever lay ahead.